welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. Winter is nigh upon us, and so it is time for another highly aspirational seasonal TBR from yours truly. Yes, this is my winter TBR video, and I have lots of exciting reads ahead, some which you might recognize from previous TBR videos. But I am getting through the list slowly but surely and enjoying myself immensely. Fall was really great. I had a wonderful fall. I had a blast reading all the books that I read during this season that is nearly over, and I'm highly satisfied with my fall. Even though I didn't read everything that I hoped to, that's kind of how it goes. So, that's quite all right with me. I'm having a great time on the channel, having a wonderful time interacting with other booktubers and with you guys in the comments, and it's just a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun. So I'm excited to talk about the books that I want to read, and I have here 3 separate piles. These are strategically piled, and I have them in according to various categories that I have sort of in here anyway. This particular pile these are definites. These are definite books that I will be reading this winter, and some of them are just upcoming, and actually this one I just finished, but I want to talk about that in a minute. This pile here, these are very highly likely, in fact, extremely likely, almost certain. And then this pile, these are books that I really, 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 really want to get to, and hopefully will, if all things go well. So anyway, let me get right into it. So starting with the pile where I know I'm going to be reading these, unless something catastrophic happens like the end of the world or something. But I'm pretty sure I'll be reading these. In fact, this one I've read, so I can guarantee that. I finished Toll the Hounds. This is book 8 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. And I have not yet had my discussion with AP, who is, of course, a critical dragon, or Professor Fireballs if you prefer. But yeah, we're going to have our usual drill where we have the spoiler-free chat on my channel, and then we have the spoiler-filled discussion on his channel, and we might have some additional, I think, very exciting videos on Toll the Hounds. So just a little heads up there for you Malazan fans. And speaking of Malazan fans, I can pretty much guarantee that AP and I are going to finish our reread together of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. So I have here Dust of Dreams, and I will probably be reading this in about a month, I would guess. This is book 9 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, and The Crippled God, the 10th and final book of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. So these, we'll probably have about a month in between each of them. So probably sometime around February will realistically be when we finish, but that is well within winter. So I am confident that we will be finishing that. And initially I had wanted to finish the Malazan Book of the Fallen this year, but just life happens. So we get busy, and that's perfectly okay because we are doing this for fun. We are not on a rigid schedule. And we're having just a tremendous time reading these books. The Malazan series, this reread that I've been doing with AP, I've been said it many, many times, but it's been one of the most meaningful experiences I've ever had, period. I mean, just one of the greatest literary journeys I've ever been on. It's not the greatest, actually. So yeah, I mean, it's just been tremendous. I've enjoyed it, and I'm kind of sad to think about it coming to an end. There's just one reason why I don't mind that we're not finishing just yet, because I kind of don't want it to end. This has been a lot of fun for me. So I have AP to thank for that, of course. And Steven Erickson, who's been so nice to be involved in some of our chats as well along the way. And hopefully we will be seeing more of Mr. Erickson on AP's channel, and I hope mine as well. So we will see. Next thing I'm going to read after I finish, actually I've started, so I finished Toll the Hounds, and I'm starting now Wizard and Glass. This is book 4 of the Dark Tower series. This is a series that I want to prioritize for myself because I just love it. I enjoyed the first 3 books tremendously, and I anticipate that I am going to love book 4 because it is all about Roland, and there's some great backstory here, I hear, so I am very excited to get further along in the Dark Tower series, to get closer to the Dark Tower. So yeah, this is exciting to me that I'm just prioritizing this for myself, for my own selfish reasons, because I enjoy Stephen King's Dark Tower series a lot so far, and I expect that to continue. The next thing I'm going to read is going to be, after I finish the Wizard in Glass, I'm going to continue with Ian Esselmont's Novels of the Malazan Empire. And so I will be reading Blood and Bone. This is book 5 of the 6-book series by Esselmont. This is the series that is concurrent with the Malazan Book of the Fallen. Esselmont, Erickson are co-creators of the Malazan world. And this has been a real just eye-opener for me. I have really enjoyed the first 4 books of Novels of the Malazan Empire. I had previously read Esselmont's Path to Ascendancy. I read that trilogy and enjoyed it immensely. Really, in and of itself, great storytelling, but also wonderful to fill in lots of gaps there in the Malazan world, questions that I had that get answered. Lots of cool stuff, lots of cool elements of the Malazan world get attention in the Esselmont books, and he is a fantastic writer. He is an absolutely fantastic writer, one of the best writers of atmosphere I've ever come across, and I expect this Blood and Bone to be very atmospheric, so I am excited. And I probably will finish this before the end of December. I'm pretty sure that I'll be able to get to this before the end of December. So that's a definite, and there's my next one. And that'll be followed eventually by a sale, which I anticipate I'll probably read toward the end of January, so about a month later. So very excited to get to the end of Novels of the Malazan Empire. And then I will have read everything published in the Malazan world by both Erickson and Esselmont. This is a huge goal of mine for the channel and for my personal satisfaction. And I'm very excited to be very close to doing that. So yeah, this will be the last book for me to have read in the Malazan world in Esselmont's A Sail. So yeah, because I've read all of Erickson's Malazan Book of the Fallen before as a reread for me. So yeah, really, really excited to get to the end of that. So another one that I might sneak in before the end of the year, let's see if things go really well, will be book 2 of the Long Price Quartet. I have here the omnibus edition. So book 2 is A Betrayal in Winter. I read the first book, A Shadow in Summer, and enjoyed it immensely. And I'm involved in a group read of the Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham. And I'm so excited about that. We had our first chat on Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and it was a wonderful time. I had a great time talking about A Shadow in Summer with my fellow booktubers there on Andrew's channel. He was a very gracious host. Had a lovely time talking with Nico and Sarah, and of course the impeccable Alan from the Library of Alexandria. So yeah, we had a great time with that, and we will be continuing and adding Zara to the group as well, I believe. So when we have our next discussion, there will be 6 of us, which is very, very exciting to me. And so yeah, I will be definitely getting to A Betrayal in Winter and continuing with the Long Price Quartet. Because I'm in a group read, I need to prioritize this, so it is definitely going to happen. So I will finish the Long Price Quartet before the end of winter. So yeah, so that one in January, February, March. Yeah, so I will have finished just before the end of winter the Long Price Quartet. I have here the the third and the fourth books in the series, rather. This is the omnibus edition again. So An Autumn War and The Price of Spring. So, and Daniel Abraham just impressed me to no end with his writing in the first book. So I anticipate that I'm going to love this quartet very much. So yeah, that'll be definite. Those will be done before the end of winter. Yeah. Another one that I'm pretty sure I'll get to, because I'm reading this along with another booktuber, none other than Mike from Mike's Book Reviews. He recently asked me if I would be willing to read Beowulf with him. And not just Beowulf, but the Tolkien translation of Beowulf, which I am delighted. I mean, this is a combination of some of my greatest passions here. So Tolkien was my favorite author growing up until the Malazan books, and I still love Tolkien's works, and I also became a medievalist because of Tolkien. I learned Old English in large part. I mean, that sounds really geeky, doesn't it? But it's true. I actually went into my career because of Tolkien, and so yeah, I love Beowulf. It is my favorite thing to teach. Of course, it's best read in Old English, but for Mike, I will read happily the Tolkien translation. I might just torture him a little bit with some excerpts of Old English when we have our discussion, so we'll see how much tolerance he has for that. but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a blast, and I'm going to read this whole thing. I've read his translation before, but I haven't read everything in here because this does include some commentary and other things as well, so I'm excited to actually read the entire book. So I'll be doing that with Mike, and I'm not actually sure about the date on that yet. I just know that I'm going to be doing it, and I assume it's going to be at some point in the winter. So yeah, Beowulf, nice. So an inspiration for so many fantasy writers as well. So let's get to the books that I'm pretty sure I will get to during the winter in some form or other. I have 3 self-published books here, and I actually have another self-published book coming. I'm very excited to be reading these self-published books that I'm going to be working into my schedule. I have talked about this one before, I just haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm excited to. This is a fellow booktuber, Miles Binding. It Stings. Great title, great cover. So, and it is a collection of prose and poetry. So that has my interest already because I do love poetry. The one that's coming as well, which I don't have yet, is also contains poetry and I believe short stories. So yeah, that's going to be fun. And I also have a book sent to me by David Singh, Dead Boy's Game, and The Broken Bow. So this is part of the Magical Rome universe. So yeah, this should be fun. I don't know a whole lot about it, except that it is inspired by ancient Rome. So yeah, that it sounds like there aren't a lot of fantasies out there that are Roman inspired. So that got my interest. So I thought, I'll give it a try. Why not? And then I have another book sent to me by a self-published author. This is called Paladin Unbound, and it's part of the Archives of Ivelium. And it's by Jeffrey Spate. So here it is, and I am looking forward to reading this very much, these self-published books. It's part of my mission on the channel to shine some light on some self-published authors. That is something that I want to do. It is something I feel is important for us to do as booktubers, to help out these people who don't have the same ability to market their work as someone published from a traditional publisher. And there are some, I'm really kind of hoping to find the next great fantasy that way. I expect there to be some really talented authors out there. So that is one reason I'm doing this. I'm searching in hopes to find the next great fantasy author by reading some self-published works. So other things that I'm pretty confident that I will get to, that I will start. I may even get further, but I'm very sure that I will be reading Legend. And I may get further in the Draenei saga or Draenei series. I forget what it's called exactly, but yeah, David Gemmell. It's just long overdue for me to read some Gemmell. This is a gap in my fantasy reading, and my buddy AP, A Critical Dragon, is getting me to read this. I'm going to be buddy reading this with AP at some point. I anticipate it'll be after we finish all of the Malazan stuff, so probably it'll be late. I don't know. Well, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it goes. I haven't actually fixed our schedule yet. AP and I, we haven't decided exactly what we're going to do post Malazan. But Gemmell is definitely top priority there. So I anticipate that I will be reading this before the end of winter. I hope. So we shall see. Another one that I'm going to be reading along with AP, and I'm not sure about the order of all this. So I do want to read the Jenny Wirtz, Raymond Feist trilogy that begins with Daughter of the Empire. So I'm very excited for that. I am not entirely sure, though, if we're going to read this first or if we're going to read Jenny Wirtz's series, the Wars of Shadow and Light, or Wars of Light and Shadow, I think that might be right. But one is something by Wirtz, at least, and I don't know which we're going to start with yet. We haven't worked that out, but I will definitely be reading something by Jenny Wirtz, whether it's this trilogy she wrote with Feist, or whether it's her own series, which is, I think, quite far along now. I don't know exactly how many books, but the Wars of Light and Shadow. I'm very excited to be reading this author, especially since AP has spoken highly of her, and I'm excited because I'm just getting to know more great fantasy authors. So this is great. And speaking of great fantasy authors, AP and I are going to be reading Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings, and we're going to take each trilogy, well, there's one tetralogy as well, but each one at a time. So we're not going to read straight through the Realm of the Elderlings. It would probably take us a couple years, but we will read the Farseer trilogy first, and then we'll read the Liveship Traders, and then Tawny Man at some point, interspersing them at different points throughout the year. So I would anticipate that we'll probably get to at least the first book of Farseer before the end of winter. We'll see. Before the end of winter, I hope. So those are all the ones I'm fairly sure that I'll be getting to. And then here are my highly aspirational, really want to do this, and maybe I'll work them in even sooner than I think. But I really, really, really want to read these books. So we shall see. But high up on the list now actually is Blood of Elves, and I am even considering bumping this up on the TBR because of the new Witcher season. Season 2? I didn't watch the first season. So I'm kind of intrigued, though. I find myself having a lot of fun at the moment watching the Wheel of Time series. 6 episodes in, I've been having a really fun time watching it. I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying it. And so I'm thinking, well, maybe I should give more fantasy television a try. So I might just read Blood of Elves, and I understand that the second season of The Witcher is based largely on the Blood of Elves. So I did read the first, the 2 short story collections, so I am familiar with the Witcher world, know the characters, at least some of the important ones. So I am kind of intrigued and excited to actually start with the Witcher series proper. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. It would be lovely to read that and then catch up with everybody on the show. So we'll see. Another book that I really want to read. I thoroughly enjoyed reading last year Mark Lawrence's Red Queen's War trilogy. And I am very excited to continue to read some Mark Lawrence. He is a top 10 author for me in the genre. Very smart author. I really loved the 2 trilogies of his that I've read. The Broken Empire trilogy and Red Queen's War. And now I want to read the Book of the Ancestor. And I have all 3 books ready to go. Beginning, of course, with Red Sister. So that is something I hope to get to, if not in the winter, then certainly in the first half of the year. So that's where probably the rest of these are going to be. And same thing with Josiah Bancroft's Books of Babel, beginning with Senlin Ascends. I am very eager to read this tetralogy. I have the first 3 books already. Oh, it even has a little endorsement by Mark Lawrence there on the cover. That's kind of cool. Speaking of Mark Lawrence. But yeah, so I'm very, very excited from what I've heard. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to love the Books of Babel. It's similar to what I was hearing ahead of time about Long Price Quartet. I've heard similar things that make me feel like I'm going to really love the Books of Babel. So it's something that I'm really eager to get to. So yeah, and I understand it's something a little different, which is definitely I'm up for it. So, and speaking of something different, R. Scott Baker's. These last 3 I've been kicking down the road quite a few times. I will get to R. Scott Baker's The Darkness That Comes Before, at least in the first half of the year. So I maybe if things go really well, and if I feel inspired, I might even grab it before winter's end. But it is something that I definitely need to read. And I've heard so many people say I probably will like it based on my love for Malazan and other types of fantasy. I love the philosophy in my fantasy, so Baker is a trained philosopher, so I will definitely probably appreciate reading this very much. And I will continue reading the Prince of Nothing trilogy. This is book 1, The Darkness That Comes Before. So I will get to it the first half of the year. You heard me say it. I am committed now. And other 2 books that I really want to get to, these last couple, one is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Another one I keep trotting out. It's been on a few TBRs at this point. I will get to it first half of the year. You heard it. And also, same goes for Rage of Dragons. I will read this, and if I love it, I will read the second book in time to read the third by Evan Winter. I have Rage of Dragons. You know that because I've brought it out several times on my TBR. I will get to it. So yeah, there it is. That is my aspiration. Oh yeah, and I didn't even bother bringing out the Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. First of all, it's just heavy. I keep having to carry it up and down the stairs for these TBR videos. Plus, I know I'm not going to get to Rhythm of War anytime soon. Not because I don't want to. I really do. You see all these books I have to read. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do with Rhythm of War is I'm going to read it shortly before the 5th book comes out in the Stormlight Archive, which will be the first arc. I know Sanderson is planning 2 arcs, 10 books, but the first 5-book arc I'm definitely going to read. I've read the first 3. I enjoyed them. I'm going to read Rhythm of War, but I'm going to push it off a bit until it's a bit closer to the 5th book. So yeah, that's my plan. It's a good plan, I think, because then I'll be fresh for the 5th book. So yeah, I think I meant that all along, right? So, so anyway, those are my plans and my aspirations, and thank you for watching this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of these books and which ones you would prioritize, and I hope that you will listen in when I am reviewing some of these books and discussing these books with my fellow booktubers, and I thoroughly enjoy hearing all of your thoughts. And thank you to all of you who are watching this and who have subscribed and liked my videos. I really appreciate your support very much. Until next time.